Hello, I am R.E. Burden. Welcome to my show, R.E. Burden Presents Deep Dives into the Divine Design. Today's topic, Day 3, the Day of the Flowering Firstfruits.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into some really interesting material you shared.
Yeah, looking forward to this.
So our aim today is really to unpack this idea of the day of fragrant flowering firstfruits. We want to explore what this day 3 really means, both in what the sources call the old creation and the new creation.
Right, drawing from those texts you mentioned, the ones with the Hebrew and the reflections.
Exactly. And we will encounter a few Hebrew terms along the way. The source helpfully gives some pronunciation pointers.
Ah, good.
Like Bereshith, he says think. Bereshith.
Okay, Bereshith. Got it.
Yeah, not Bereshith.
And Moshe.
And Moshe is like mow the lawn. Then Shah, like the Shah of Iran. Moshe.
Moshe.
And Yashua is basically Joshua, just started with a Y sound.
Yashua. Simple enough. Okay, let's dive in.
Great. So where do we start? The old creations, day 3.
That's the logical place. The sources anchor us right there in Bereshith, or Genesis chapter 1, verses 9 to 13. And it focuses very closely on what happened on that third day. You have the Almighty Creator commanding the waters to pool together.
Right, so the dry land appears, which the text calls earth.
Exactly. And significantly, this is also when plant life first appears. You know, vegetation yielding seed, fruit trees bearing fruit.
And it specifically mentions each according to its DNA, which is quite a modern phrasing in the source's reflection, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It highlights that inherent pattern or code within each type of plant.
And that phrase, then so it was, keeps popping up after each command.
It really does. It emphasizes the immediacy, the power of the word. Then comes the assessment. The Almighty Creator saw that it was right.
A sense of divine approval of inherent goodness in the created order.
Precisely. And the source gives us some of the Hebrew flavor, too.
Ah, yes, the terms.
We see names like Yahuwah and Eloheinu for the Almighty Creator.
Eloheinu meaning our Almighty Creator.
That's right. And Melahalam, King of the Universe. Hamoer, which means who said.
Leading into the command.
Exactly. Hater Hayabasha. The dry land will appear.
And then that response again.
Wehai King. Then so it was. It really brings the text alive.
It does. So the summary for day 3, old creation is: waters pooled, dry land emerges as earth, plants and trees grow, each with its own seed.
That's the essence of it. But then the reflections take it a step further, symbolically.
Okay, how so?
Well, the source suggests these first 3 days act as a kind of type and shadow.
A foreshadowing.
Exactly. Foreshadowing Yashua the Messiah's death, burial, and resurrection. This is where it gets quite profound.
All right, lay it out for us. How do the days connect?
So day 1, light separating from darkness. That's seen as symbolizing Yashua, the light of the world.
Makes sense.
Day 2, the expanse, the firmament. Interpreted as representing the tomb, a sealed, confined space associated with death.
Okay, day 1 light, day 2 tomb.
And day 3, our focus today. The emergence of dry land, life springing from the earth. That becomes the symbol of resurrection.
Ah, so the draining away of the waters is like the draining of death, and the earth bringing forth life is the first fruits of resurrection.
Precisely. The first fruits you mentioned earlier, it connects the physical creation act to the spiritual reality of resurrection.
That's quite a connection. The reflection also mentions a specific Hebrew word, doesn't it?
Malkwal.
Yes, makwel, meaning place. And the source points out its connection to gathering or pooling.
Like the gathering of the waters on day 3.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The source links makwel to another word, miakwa.
Mikwa. What does that mean?
It also means a pool, specifically a ritual cleansing pool.
Okay.
And the source highlights that in the Greek New Testament, this concept, this pool, is linked to the idea of a baptismal.
Which itself symbolizes death, burial, and resurrection. Wow.
Right. So the very first pool of water mentioned in creation on the day the earth emerges is already symbolically tied through these linguistic links to both death and new life.
So that first floral arrangement, as the source calls it, the first plants, is seen as directly pointing towards the resurrection of Yashua the Messiah. It weaves the literal creation with deep symbolic meaning.
Let's just pause on that word mikveh.
Yeah.
The source breaks down the Hebrew sounds. Mem for M, hired for a short I, quaff for K, then a silent schwa.
Right.
Wa for W, Serif for the I sound, like in
Ah.
they, and a silent hey at the end. So roughly, mikwe.
Bikwe, yeah, meaning pool. It's fascinating how the sounds build the meaning.
It is. Okay, so from the old creation's day 3 symbolism, the source moves to.
The day 3 of new creation, it draws a direct parallel
How so?
with the very similar structure of praise. Yahuwah, our almighty creator, king of the universe, who said, but this time the declaration is different.
What's the declaration for the new creation day 3?
The Son of Man will rise again on the third day.
And followed by?
Then so it was. Weahaikain, that same affirmation.
The resonance is undeniable.
Yeah.
And again, we get the Hebrew.
Yes. Habhain Adam for the Son of Man.
Okay.
Yokumaguru will rise again.
Yokumuguru.
Beyom Shalashi on the third day.
Beom Shalushi.
And Weahaikain, then so it was.
So the source points to scripture for this. Matthew.
Mattithyahu, yes. Specifically, Matthew 27.53 and chapter 28, verses 1 to 6. These passages describe the events surrounding the resurrection.
Right, chapter 27 mentions people rising from tombs.
Yes. Crucially, after Yashua's own resurrection, they came out of the tombs and went into the consecrated city, Jerusalem, and were seen by many people.
And then chapter 28 details the scene at the tomb itself after Shabbat.
That's right. Miriam from Magdala and the other Miriam go to the tomb. There's a huge earthquake. A messenger of Yahweh comes down.
Rolls the stone away, sits on it. Quite a dramatic scene.
Very. The messenger's appearance is described as like lightning, clothes white as snow. The guards are terrified, paralyzed with fear.
And the messenger speaks to the women.
Yes, tells them not to be afraid. I know you're looking for Yashua, who is crucified. He isn't here.
For he has risen, just as he said.
Exactly. Come, see the place where he was lying. It's the core message of the resurrection.
And the source emphasizes again that those other resurrected people entered the city after Yashua rose. That timing seems key to the interpretation here.
It does, and it leads the source to speculate, well, who were these people who rose?
What are the theories presented?
One idea is perhaps they were people who had died recently, known figures in Jerusalem. Kind of makes practical sense.
Okay, a straightforward possibility.
But then there's a more, let's say, intricate theory presented.
Oh.
It involves Yirmeyahu Jeremiah and his school of prophets.
Okay, how do they connect?
It references the story, notably championed by Ron Wyatt, about locating the Ark of the Covenant.
Ah, the Ark story. In Yirmeyahu's grotto.
That's the one. The theory suggests Yirmeyahu and his followers hid the Ark there, perhaps were even buried near or in the grotto, and therefore they might have been witnesses, in some sense, when the blood of the Messiah dripped down onto the mercy seat of the Ark after the crucifixion.
Wow, okay. That's quite a narrative. And Ron Wyatt's account of his finger-pointing.
Yeah, the source mentions that too. His claim of being guided to that specific spot, it adds a layer of, well, mystique to it.
So the source leans towards identifying these resurrected individuals as Yirmeyahu and his group.
It presents it as a strong possibility, suggesting these distinguished people raised were indeed them. It connects the resurrection event directly to the Ark and the prophetic lineage.
That certainly adds another layer of significance, tying old covenant artifacts to the new creation event.
It does. The source also throws in a quick aside about sensory progression in creation.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Just a brief thought. Day 1, light for sight. Day 2, maybe sound waves implied. Day 3, the fragrance of the plants, the olfactory sense, a subtle progression.
Interesting observation.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to that central theme.
All the scriptures are about Yashua the Messiah. That's the lens through which all this is interpreted in the source material.
Right. And there's one more type and shadow mentioned.
Yes, the story of Eleazar, or Lazarus as he's more commonly known.
How does his story fit the day 3 pattern?
The source proposes a very specific timeline. Eleazar dies on Yashua's 39th birthday. He's in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights.
Uh-huh.
And he's resurrected on the 3rd day of the week, which, according to this view, was the anniversary of day 3 of the original creation and day 3 of this new creation week.
So another echo of that 3rd day resurrection theme.
Exactly. Presented as a final, powerful illustration before Yashua's own ultimate fulfillment of it.
Okay. And the material wraps up with a prayer.
Yes, a final prayer for morning devotions, addressed to Our Father Yahuwah, in the name of Yashua.
What are the key themes in that prayer?
Seeking knowledge and understanding through the spirit of Yahuwah, aligning one's senses, sight, hearing, smell with the Almighty Creator's will. And it includes praying for the peace of Jerusalem and a call to share the message.
A very reflective way to bring it all together.
Mm-hmm. So, looking back at this deep dive, the core takeaway from these sources is really the profound weight given to the third day.
Yeah, it's not just chronological, it's deeply symbolic in both creation accounts, the old and the new.
It links the emergence of physical life from the earth with the spiritual reality of resurrection. The sources reveal these potential layers, this interconnectedness within the texts.
Absolutely. And for me, the real aha moment is seeing day 3 not just as a date, but as this recurring motif of life triumphing, emerging from seemed like an end.
That's a great way to put it, life breaking through.
So perhaps a final thought for you listening in. How might this idea of first fruits, this day 3 emergence, resonate beyond these specific texts?
Yeah, where might you see new beginnings, maybe even small resurrections, unfolding in your own experience or in the world around you?
What first fruits are you witnessing or hoping for? Something to maybe reflect on after our dive today.